In this WrestleTalk news, yet more confirmation that Sasha Banks and Naomi have been released for realsies. Bryan Danielson's injury is branded concerning, and injury/return updates are plenty, so subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
Happy Friday, folks, from this blighted isle. For those of you not in the know, our government in the UK has decided to eat itself alive, with a bunch of cabinet ministers, aides, etc. attending their resignations in order to tell the Prime Minister Boris Johnson to get the F out, which he is doing, eventually apparently. Now, I won't be divulging my true feelings about the Tories imploding on this wrestling news. Try not to infer it from my face. Because I know, of course, some of you commentators want to keep the politics out of wrestling. But what about when the wrestling gets into politics? Because while all the rats were leaving the ship, one person hopped aboard for sort of 36 hours. Conservative MP Michelle Donlan was appointed Education Secretary by Boris Johnson on July the 6th before tendering her resignation a mere 36 hours into the role. Now, you would have thought that she'd last a little bit longer because she's got experience of hostile work environments. She used to work for WWE as internal marketing communications manager. And it looks like she definitely picked up a little bit of wrestling know-how because she definitely tried a very quick heel-face turnabout this week. Politics over. Moving on to real wrestling news now, because people are still trying to work out what is going on with Sasha Banks and Naomi. Have they stayed? Or have they glowed? Previously, wrestling pundits from Wrestling Inc., WrestleVotes, and PW Insider have all reported that Banks specifically was let go weeks ago and that the pair were removed from WWE's internal roster despite their profiles still being active on WWE.com. Now, a new report from Fightful Selectors provided more information, saying the pair were removed from internal rosters weeks ago despite no one being prompted to remove them from the roster page on the website. However, someone was told to edit a Sasha Banks sign in a photo gallery. Fightful's report goes on to say that many top WWE stars are of the belief that the initial reports about the boss being released are true and that she is officially gone from the company. The creative team are also said to reportedly be working on the assumption that neither Banks nor Naomi will be returning, and there are no contingency plans in place should that situation change. No major change there. There are no contingency plans in place for if Tuesday happens to happen after Raw. Adding a little extra something to this story is the fact that both Sasha Banks and Naomi have updated their Instagram profiles to remove the words WWE Superstar and replace them with professional wrestler, which is a clear sign they can't be working for WWE anymore because WWE doesn't have any professional wrestlers. They just have people who can wrestle, who are superstars.
Before we get on with the rest of the video, I'd just like to say a big thank you to this episode's sponsor, Surfshark VPN, which you can get 83% off and 3 months free if you go to surfshark.deals/WrestleTalk and use the code WrestleTalk. Surfshark VPN lets you trick your device into thinking it's in another country, which opens up a whole new world of content libraries. If you're in the UK, you can watch US Netflix, which has a far bigger selection of movies. If you're outside the UK, you can watch the BBC iPlayer. And if you're in the US, you can finally get access back to the old WWE network with its far superior functionality. I hate change. We've all been using Surfshark here at WrestleTalk for years now. It's our official VPN. And it doesn't just let us gain access to all the wrestling, it also secures our networks by encrypting internet traffic, keeping our location and download history private. My collection of ultra swole Pokemon must be protected at all costs. And my favorite feature for this is that Surfshark knows when my phone leaves a trusted connection like my home or work internet, and it immediately turns on to prevent interference. It's like having a babyface wrestling faction for your phone. So sign up to Surfshark today by clicking our link in the video description below, surfshark.deals/WrestleTalk, where you'll get 83% off and 3 months free if you use the code WrestleTalk. We'd really appreciate if you at least check them out, as they're a great company and we love working with them. Support WrestleTalk and support your internet privacy with Surfshark.
Speaking of WWE releases, there have been absolutely loads of them over the last couple of years, and I think the things that get lost in the shuffle of the news is that some people have just moved their entire lives to go and work for WWE, only to be left high and dry by the company in the middle of a pandemic still. Now, one name who certainly feels like that happened to them is Kathy Carino, aka Allison Danger, who joined the company as a coach in late 2021 before being released in January 2022 after essentially 3 months with the company. Now, she had previously lived in Las Vegas and moved with her daughter to Florida in order to work at the PC, but her husband was transferred by his work to South Carolina. Carino said that she would have joined him there had it not been for the NXT job. Speaking of Renee Paquette on the Sessions podcast, she explained her situation, which she says after 5 months still sucks. She said, "I feel like I got brought to Florida and then left to die because now my family's split. We're struggling through that. I'm still now 5 months out and nothing to show for it, and I still have no idea what I'm gonna do. This has been a rock bottom year." It's to the point where I'm like, is the universe telling me this is it? This is done. I chased the dream, I got it for 3 months, and I'm financially devastated. Carino's release was credited to restructuring the budget by WWE, and it just goes to show how much they ask of people to go and work for them, but they offer absolutely no securities back. Here's hoping things start looking up for you, Kathy. And while WWE restructured its budgets 5 months ago, it is now seemingly being forced to restructure its board as well, as a new SEC filing indicates that Connor Schell has resigned his position on the WWE board of directors. The former ESPN executive was elected to the board in mid-2021. Now, the filing cites an increased slate of responsibilities resulting from his new expanded role at the newly formed The North Road Company, a global multi-genre content studio, as the main reason for his departure, which is effective immediately, and notes that there has been no dispute or disagreement between Schell and the company, but the timing is interesting because the board is currently investigating allegations of misconduct involving Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis, so Schell leaving means he's not going to be seeing that through. Now, another week, another update about Bayley, who's been teasing her return from ACL injury for quite some time now. PW Insider are now reporting that Bayley was at the Performance Center in Orlando earlier this week. The report doesn't clarify precisely why Bayley was visiting the PC, but it does seemingly go hand in hand with Fightful's story that Bayley is preparing for a return to in-ring action and is actively in training for it. In other news, sticking around with WWE is Pat McAfee, who has reportedly signed a multi-year contract extension with the company. WrestleVotes tweeted to say, "I'm told the Pat McAfee extension was signed a few weeks back, to the thrill of everyone involved. WWE knows exactly what they have in McAfee and was steadfast on making sure they kept him around. Good job on them." I'm glad it said that everyone involved was thrilled to have him sign an extension, because damn right too, McAfee's been a much needed jolt of energy on SmackDown commentary. Before we crack on with the rest of the news, we just need to thank Ryan Disco Stewart and AA Ron Turner for their support on Patreon. Hopping the barricade and heading over to AEW now, where things are not looking good for some of the injured members of the roster. Firstly, Bryan Danielson, who has been out of action for over a month after suffering a concussion. Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio voiced his concerns, saying, "I'm very concerned with Danielson, obviously, because when you have the number of concussions he's had, and he's been out now for 5 weeks, you start worrying at 5 weeks of a concussion. This may be a real bad situation. I know in real life and everything like that, he's fine, he can function, he can do everything, but as far as being cleared to wrestle, I don't know anything. No one knows. Getting cleared from a concussion can be any time. There's no time frame, but the fact that it's been this long is very concerning." And obviously, while it is certainly speculation at this point about the status of Danielson's health and whether he is cleared to wrestle or not, the fact does remain that Bryan has had a history of head injuries, and the longer he is out of action, the more people are just going to worry about his wrestling future. I feel like we'd only just got over the idea of watching him be dropped on his head again. Also out of action in AEW is Adam Cole, who suffered a torn labrum and was concussed at AEW Cross New Japan Forbidden Door Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. Meltzer also had an update for him, saying that we shouldn't expect him back in the ring anytime soon. Adam Cole's going to be out for a while. Punk, I don't know when the time frame is, and I think that they're trying not to let you know, but I'm pretty sure he'll be back. Surgery for a broken foot, it's a couple of months, but it's not like it's 6 months, so he probably won't be that long. Now, in the case of Adam Cole, the WrestleTalk website guys did a bit of research with Dr. Google, who suggested it takes 4 to 6 weeks to recover from a torn labrum, but concussions obviously have this ill-defined time frame for recovering, getting cleared to wrestle again. You just better when you are. But it's not just in-ring where you can risk injury, because if things get heated backstage, well, I mean, back in the day you would have found Taker waiting in the locker room with his gloves on and a bag full of knives. One person who quite famously had issues with management over in WWE was CM Punk, and Road Dogg on his podcast recounted a time that he and Punk almost went to blows backstage. He said, "Me and CM Punk almost went to blows. I told you, when I was a producer on a live event. And we had to get called into Vince's office at TV and make nice and shake hands." So that's what some of the, like, I don't know. I never thought Punk was what Punk was, but again, I know he is what he is. I know he's hugely successful in this industry and over. I give him all the credit in the world. I just didn't get it. I see it now. I still don't get it, but I see it, so I know it's true. I mean, maybe Punk was just a little frustrated that he was clearly over with the crowd, and yet still no one believed in him. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, Road Dogg went on to say that after making friends, he was the one who continued to be childish with CM Punk. He said, "The next time I saw him, it was not him yelling in my face, I was yelling in his face. He was a lot more professional and calm, and I wasn't at the time." There you go. I have nothing else to say. That's just the end of the news. In this WrestleTalk news, AEW stars saved the contract of Colt Cabana. A controversial show from ex-WWE stars gets cancelled, and an update on Triple H returning to NXT. Plus, Ollie's going to be here reviewing AEW Dynamite, so subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.